is Stephen Smith. I'm with Christian Leadership Partners. And for the last 26 days, we've been going over a coaching session. These coaching sessions are only about 10 minutes long, and hopefully they're making a difference in your life. We're providing these tools for you so that you can become your best you, and that's really what the ultimate goal here is. And these are absolutely free. You're more than welcome to share them on Facebook. You can take the YouTube link and paste it and send it to your friends. You can text it to them. I mean, these are all different ways that we can actually help others to become their best them as well. And what we really want to do is we want to use the Word of God, use that as an opportunity to be able to change the way that we live our lives and to actually start achieving the goals that we've identified. Now, for the past 3 or 4 weeks now, what we've been doing is we've been writing down our goals every single day. And in fact, if you look down in the comments section below, you can actually download a copy of our goal worksheet. Now, if this is the first time that you've seen one of these videos, I really do encourage you to go back to the very beginning and start out on day 1. What we've been doing is we've been working on our goals. Every single day we've been writing them down. And we've been seeing that our goals have actually progressed and evolved from something that was like, gee, I hope I can make it through the day, to I'm going to go out and I'm going to accomplish these following things in my life. You know, only 2% of the people who write down in life actually write down their goals. And hopefully you're one of those 2%. Hopefully I've changed the way that you think, or you've changed the way that you thought about how goals can actually be developed and help drive our lives. And that's really what we want to do today. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little bit of time in Proverbs chapter 26. Proverbs 26 will actually help us to see several different things. In fact, it's extraordinarily important for us because it's going to tell us to look. The only thing that's really important here is how God sees you. It's not how others see you or how others perceive you. We shouldn't be working towards towards other people's expectations of what our lives are like. We want to make sure that we're living the life that God has set before us and not the lives that someone else has set before us. So that's the meant of what we want to accomplish today through our reading in Proverbs. So let's take a look at what Proverbs actually has to say to us, and let's see if we can understand what it is that Solomon was conveying to us. Proverbs chapter 26 verse 2 tells us, like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse will not land on its intended victim. So I want you to understand this. What God has said about you and what God has created in you cannot be determined by someone else. It can only be determined and pursued by you. So remember that as we're going through and developing our plans. Now, we've developed plans. We've also developed these things based off of our goals. And what we have to see now is how am I going to start taking that step? I don't want you to be embarrassed when you take that first step, especially when people start criticizing you. Don't listen to what others have to say. I want you to listen to what God has to tell you. Okay? And these are some of the things that God has to tell you. Let's take a look at Proverbs 26. Proverbs chapter 26 is going to tell us to avoid the arguments with fools. It'll tell us the marks of a lazy person. It'll also tell us to watch our words. And then it'll also show that the evil will be exposed and caught in their own trap. Now, there's lots of really good things that we're going to be able to see throughout this chapter in Proverbs 26. I hope that you'll enjoy this. Stick with me as we read through this. Now, again, we're going to read Proverbs 26 out of the New Living Translation. I think that you'll enjoy this, but I do encourage you to follow along in your own translation or to find the things that Proverbs is actually speaking to you today. Remember, if you ask God to show you, He will show you the most important verse here today. So let's take a look and start reading Proverbs chapter 26. Honor is no more associated with fools than snow with summer, or rain with harvest. Like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse will not land on its intended victim. Guide a horse with a whip, a donkey with a bridle, and a fool with a rod to his back. Don't answer the foolish arguments of fools, or you will become as foolish as they are. Be sure to answer the foolish arguments of a fool, and they will become wise in their own estimation. Trusting a fool to convey a message is like cutting off one's feet or drinking poison. A proverb in the mouth of a fool is as useless as a paralyzed leg. Honoring a fool is as foolish as tying a stone to a slingshot. A proverb in the mouth of a fool is like a thorny branch brandished by a drunk. An employer who hires a fool or a bystander is like an archer who shoots at random. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool will repeat his foolishness. There is more hope for fools than for people who think they are wise. The lazy person claims there's a lion on the road. Yes, I'm sure there's a lion out there. As a door swings back and forth on its hinges, so the lazy person turns over in bed. Lazy people take food in their hand, but they don't even lift it to their mouth. Lazy people consider themselves smarter than 7 wise counselors. Interfering in someone else's argument is as foolish as yanking a dog's ears, just as damaging as a madman shooting a deadly weapon. Is someone who lies to a friend and then says, "I was only joking." Fire goes out without wood and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. A quarrelsome person starts a fight as easily as hot embers light charcoal or fire lights wood. Rumors are dainty morsels that sink deep into one's heart. Smooth words may hide a wicked heart. Just as a pretty glaze covers a clay pot, people may cover their hatred with pleasant words, but they're deceiving you. They pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. While hatred may be concealed, by trickery their wrongdoing will be exposed in public. If you set a trap for others, you will get caught in it yourself. If you roll a boulder down on others, it will crush you instead. A lying tongue hates its victims, and flattering words cause ruin. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we can take Proverbs chapter 26 and really identify the most important things in these chapters to us. Remember, you can download a copy of the goal worksheet, and on that there's a spot where you can write down what it is that you've observed. Now, every single one of us are going to find something different. And what we really want to do is we want to make sure that we go through and identify the primary reason why Solomon wrote Proverbs chapter 26. To me, he points out several key things, but the most important ones are stay away from fools. I mean, he spent a lot of time talking about fools today. He also talks about lazy people and how they can be identified. He also talked about the condition of a person's heart. We want to make sure that we set all those things in place and make sure that our vision of what our heart contains and what God has put there is the only true thing that's actually out there. What people say about you or what people have said, they don't know you. They don't know your heart. They don't know your capabilities. They don't know your strengths. So what we want to do is we want to take these verses from Proverbs and start applying them to our lives. Take a look at Proverbs 26, 24 through 26. It tells us many people cover their hatred with pleasant words, but they're deceiving you. They pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. While their hatred may be concealed by trickery, their wrongdoing will be exposed in public. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we understand this simple fact, that your opinion of yourself is what really truly matters. Now, there are other people that will encourage you, and there are other people that will help you along the way, and we're going to talk about what a true friend is tomorrow. But what we really want to do is spend the time today on what your goals are. You're not out there to accomplish the goals of someone else. You're not out there to accomplish the goals of your closest friends, of your closest enemies. I mean, there's so many things that we want to make sure that we stay away from. We want to do this by doing 3 different things. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we're sure of our calling. We went through the 8 different things that we could identify to make sure that our goals were actually godly goals. We also went through and asked ourselves 3 specific questions even before that to help identify our goals. And if you go back to future coaching sessions, those were things that we actually did towards the end of our goal development process. The second thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we increase our skills. Now, our attributes are going to come out as we do these things, but our skills are those things that we really need to work on. So we want to work on our skills so that when we do execute our goal and execute our mission, people think that our skills are actually our attributes, if you know what I'm saying. So we want to have them look as natural as possible, and they're going to really encourage you. I'm talking about your skills and your attributes because that's what God gave you as a natural resource. The last thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you demonstrate these attributes and these skills to other people so that they can say, wait a second, that really is their calling. And if you've ever had somebody other than your parents tell you, hey, your calling is this, that's something that actually can encourage you. And I encourage you to take those things and start making a difference in your life and the lives of others. And that's ultimately what we want to do. These tools, these goals, these things that we've worked on for these past 26 days are actually something that's designed to help you become your best you. And if you can do that, then you're going to be a miracle going someplace to happen.